Learn about an upcoming multi-day Christian arts celebration and how you can be a part of it. The Festival Jubilate, coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Service Center for the PD Area Council of the Boy Scouts. We're focused on the June 5th and 6th Festival Jubilate in Hartsville, South Carolina, and we're visiting with its organizer, Todd Gray. Good morning, Todd.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Good morning. I'm very pleased to be here.
I know it's a little strange to be at the Boy Scout Service Center and focused on Festival Jubilate, but most of this week we've had guests in, and tomorrow Jim Dawson from Hartsville as well, yes. Coker, who's on the Boy Scout board, the PD Area Council board, will be with us. Of course, Terry Alexander yesterday and other council folks this week. So we wanted to get you in to share a little bit about Festival Jubilate, which looks like it's going to be a huge success.
Well, thank you. It's a wonderful opportunity to showcase Hartsville, and has been a true blessing in my life in the last year and a half to be involved in organizing it and pulling together community organizations to work together. And it's a true collaboration that I've never seen done before between education, business, and the church community in Hartsville and Darlington County.
Mm-hmm. It's incredible. And for viewers who may have never been to Hartsville, what's so special about Hartsville?
Well, my wife and I arrived in Hartsville about 2.5 years ago, and we came from major metropolitan areas. We came from Washington, D.C., by way of Denver, Colorado, to Hartsville, and many people have said, this is it if you're downsizing. But we do have some lovely suburbs of Hartsville as well that are great. But what I was struck by, and many people will be struck by in coming to Hartsville, is the downtown area that is not preserved in time as if nothing has ever happened to it, but has really developed for 21st century retail, business, and cultural environments, and to be hospitable to that. What we have that makes Hartsville so unique is the Coker College campus that Jim Dawson assumed the presidency of, I believe, 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And on the Coker College campus, the small private liberal arts college has 4 different performance venues plus 2 different art galleries on the campus. Wow. So the cultural arts are a key component of the Coker College experience. That being located in the downtown Hartsville area alone contributes significantly to the life and vitality that we have in downtown Hartsville. Mm-hmm. When you look at the worship spaces we have in downtown Hartsville, we have a St. Bartholomew's Episcopal Church, which has a Cassavant pipe organ, which anyone who is familiar with pipe organs finds to be one of the best in the world. Really? A city the size of Hartsville generally does not have that, and it's yet another tie to Coker College. Ken Wilmot, who was the organ professor at Coker College, passed away before my wife and I moved to Hartsville, and he was the organist at St. Bartholomew's, and developed a following and an appreciation among the congregation for that style and for that classic, beautiful sound. And they invested in this wonderful instrument, which now is a legacy to Ken and to the idea that the organ music promotes there. We also have Wesley United Methodist Church in downtown, which is a beautiful historic red brick sanctuary, and First Baptist Church has a new sanctuary built in the 70s, but their chapel was built in the early 1900s, and rather than destroy this, what I find to be architectural masterpiece in downtown Hartsville, they restored it. So we have a contrast of a 100-year-old structure that's been restored with 21st century technology and created a very flexible worship space. And we have the Center Theater in downtown Hartsville, which is a Art Deco beautiful theater that has been maintained and created as a central focus for concerts and artistic events in downtown Hartsville. When we moved 2.5 years ago to Hartsville, the Black Creek Arts Council was remodeling the historic community market building, which really butts up against the back of Center Theater. And I was struck at that time, as many people will be struck about downtown Hartsville, the investment in maintaining and creating new cultural centers and new opportunities for cultural events. And that's what you'll find in pulling into Hartsville in the downtown area. It's not urban sprawl. It's not boarded up storefronts. It's a very picturesque area. We were a 1996 All-American city, and I think that we're probably on the verge of becoming an All-American city again. Every so many years you can go back for that designation. And the business owners are truly interested in investing in the community and being a part of the community.
That is fantastic, Todd. Now, is that, or you and your wife had obviously probably looked at many cities before moving from Denver area down to Hartsville. Did you all visit the city and get a feel of that prior to arriving, or?
My wife actually said to me, she's a graduate of the University of South Carolina, and she was raised as a Navy brat, but her family is from Chester. And so this was as close to a home state as she had. And so being tied to the University of South Carolina, my family vacationed at Myrtle Beach every year for 2 weeks while I grew up in Virginia. We would come down and my dad golfed and we stayed right on the ocean, and it was I had very fond memories of South Carolina. And we left everyone behind in Virginia as we went to Denver, and we decided the time had come to come back to the East Coast, and my wife was looking for an opportunity that would afford her the career success that she had enjoyed and the corporate growth that she sought, and we did not know that we would find it in a small town in South Carolina. And she called me after speaking with Sunoco and doing some initial research. We discussed it, and I said, you know, Hartsville's about the size town that I had growing up in Virginia. However, we didn't have a liberal arts college downtown. We didn't have a Fortune 1000 company in downtown, and we didn't have these opportunities to invest in the community. So I did not ever think that I would find myself returning to a city with a population of 7,500, but we did specifically have some parameters, and we're real blessed to have Hartsville fill those.
How's that transition been for your boys, Todd?
The children have had quite an adjustment because our oldest son started school in Northern Virginia. We moved to Denver, and the two children, my youngest started school when we were there. And these were major metropolitan areas. Very often with the suburban culture being what it was, you didn't even know the people in your street. And people in your church, we attended regional churches, very large churches that we were involved in, and attending those regional churches made everyone somewhat disconnected. You had a very small group of friends that were your support group in those churches, but you might not even see them Monday through Friday except at church activities. They weren't in the same schools, they weren't in the same neighborhood. Right. And coming to Hartsville, the children very quickly learned that if they didn't turn in an assignment during the week, I was going to hear about it either at Wednesday night church dinner or Sunday morning. If they were walking from their school to a designated point in town that they weren't supposed to be walking to, someone was going to call me and let me know that. Wow. And so they have had quite an adjustment, but also the opportunity to be very relaxed and to know people and to see people. We often joke among our friends that we call it collaborative or cooperative parenting. You know, I'm going to be at this school. How many children are going to get in the car with me? I'm going to be at this particular sports activity or youth activity or church activity. Cell phones has certainly made this a lot easier, because I do recognize now that unlike our parents when we were growing up, we're very often sitting in the parking lot saying to another parent, I'm here, I see your child and this other child, you want me to get them? And we're all going to the same place. Oh, yeah. You know, it's a very close-knit community and a very supportive community. And we've even remarked to our children that being in the large suburban areas, we've very much enjoyed that in the metropolitan area. But being in Hartsville, we've remarked to our children that should something happen to our family, the support system that is there and the support system we have already seen and been a part of for other people is something that really makes it a very unique place to live and raise a family.
Todd, your wife had forwarded me a little something about yourself that was maybe done in a Chamber Weekly or Chamber Monthly piece, and there were a couple of things calling from that in particular. Of course, that aspect of the open expression of faith in Hartsville, and interested in talking a little bit about that, as well as, of course, you've talked about some of the cultural crown aspects. There was a point in there about being a trailing spouse and the aspect of coming along to a position with your bride, which has opened some great doors for you. Can we talk a little about those three different components of that piece?
Well, I actually quit work when we were in the Virginia metropolitan area when our youngest child was born, actually even a little bit before he was born. And my wife had experienced great career success, and it was just a very difficult place to have a two-career family and give the time that you needed to the family. And so I trailed her to Denver, and finding a niche in a large metropolitan area certainly created its obstacles, and that is where I got involved in arts administration, because as our youngest started school, I had been involved in some committees and went to the head of public affairs at the Performing Arts Center and said, I'm not looking for a lot of money, I'm not looking for benefits, and if the children are sick, I won't be here. I figure I'd be a great fit for a nonprofit organization. And we had a wonderful arrangement. I worked part-time while the children were in school. It gave me some professional satisfaction that I enjoyed, and learning opportunities as well in arts administration. And so coming to Hartsville, I didn't quite expect, I was a little nervous, quite honestly, because being an at-home dad in Washington, D.C. and Denver, Colorado, we actually had a very large number of male spouses at home in Denver.
Really?
I attributed that a lot to the technology center that was in Denver. And women have just traditionally succeeded in recent years in software engineering and those types of things, as they have at the same time made other strides in corporate America. And so I had a best friend in Denver whose wife was an executive, and he was at home as well. And so we worked on his deck during the days, and we had lunch with the children, and if our wives were both out of town on business, we'd often, collaborate and feed the children together. And coming to Hartsville, I thought, we're talking about a traditional southern town, and traditionally it's men moving in to join Sunoco or Progress Energy, and it's the women who have either worked also or been at home. And I've been really blessed to have some great at-home friends and people who have accepted me and made me feel a part of that.
Well, with Festival Jubilate, you have not had much time at home, Todd. You couldn't have. My God, this thing's it must have taken a good year to get ready for.
It has. We've been in planning stages for about 18 months, and you mentioned the open faith community that is in Hartsville. And when we moved, I believed Virginia was part of the Bible Belt. And in Denver, Colorado, people on your street didn't necessarily attend church. And in Hartsville, it was not, do you attend church? It was, where do you attend church? And as I went to register vehicles and deal with property and home improvements over the first couple of weeks, I said I'd been witness to more than my entire life combined. In the 2 weeks we moved to Hartsville, I was very struck by everyone wanting you to visit their church.
Oh, wow.
And it was a very exciting thing to see and to recognize in restaurants, people bowing their head in prayer before they ate. And at lunch, at dinner, and it was a very open expression. People were very comfortable being in their home community, out in the community, expressing their faith. And what I saw the opportunity to create with Festival Jubilate, I really try not to take any of the credit for this, because as you have seen and as we've discussed by phone, this is not something any one person could create. And it is something that the elements were brought together in Hartsville to produce this. It has never been produced anywhere else. That's the most frequently asked question that I get, is where has this been done before? The opportunities had not come together in areas before to do this. With the stages we have, with the worship spaces that we have, with the community we have. This is an enormous human resource effort, as you can imagine. And about a year and a half ago, we formed Arts Ministry Incorporated, which is our nonprofit organization incorporated in South Carolina and headquartered in Hartsville. And our purpose is to support and develop and foster the Christian arts as tools for worship, witness, and ministry. And the best way to do that was to produce a festival celebrating that, because in the churches I've previously attended, I've seen very large and wonderful arts programs in the visual arts, in dance, and in music. And so many small churches, especially in this region of the country, have a part-time music director who does a phenomenal job of preparing things on Sunday morning, but you're not really getting into language arts and visual arts and dramatic arts and worship. And so this is an opportunity. I looked at the market research of where Hartsville is located. We're just 25 miles west of I-95 and 25 miles north of I-20. We're 5 hours north of Atlanta and 5 hours south of Richmond. And looking at the opportunities we have to grow this festival as a gem in the Hartsville crown of cultural activities really are the things that really excited me. And now we're putting that into action with the program for Festival Jubilate that we've put together.
Well, let's get into that, Todd. There's so many more things I want to talk about. We've got about 10 minutes, so I want to talk a little bit about the itinerary, some of the big names coming. And of course, let's get real quick. If a viewer wanted to learn more about the festival, the best place they could call or they could go online, what's the phone number a viewer would want to call?
Our festival offices, the phone number is 843-332-6550.
Okay.
We have a wonderful website that people can purchase tickets on. They can review the artists that are coming. The complete schedule is there.
Right.
That is www.festivaljubilate.org.
Okay. Festival Jubilate, Jubilate.org.
Correct.
Okay, great. Well, good. I want to make sure we got that out, and of course, I know we've got that up. But there's so many of the aspects of the event itself. It's a 2-day, virtually full-day event, both days, and I think I saw from 9 to 7 on
9 to 6 on Saturday, and 2 to 6 on Sunday, with our spotlight concerts each evening. What we wanted to really create is a very experiential environment, so people will purchase a festival pass for Saturday and Sunday, and it's a wristband that they'll wear, and all of the programming is overlapping. So we will have 9 performance stages operating simultaneously.
Wow.
In addition to exhibition spaces for the visual arts. And what you can do is buy your festival wristband, and you can go into a gospel concert at 9 a.m., and you can go see Mike Lewis, the Jesus Painter, at 11:30, and you can go hear a gallery talk from Ed Nippers, an artist from Washington, D.C. He'll do a gallery talk at 2 p.m. You can visit the children's tent with arts and crafts activities and storytelling and puppetry and clowning during that period of time. We have a wonderful drama ministry team called Recreations coming from Bluefield, West Virginia, and really a sampling. And we have different programming, some different programming on Sunday than what we have on Saturday. So people are able to come back on Sunday and see some new things that they didn't see on Saturday. What's not included in that festival wristband are the 2 spotlight concerts on Saturday and Sunday. And each of those begin at 7 p.m. On Saturday night, we have Sean Groves, who is a contemporary Christian musician and very popular. He gets a lot of airplay on the adult contemporary Christian radio stations. He's very popular among youth. We're having a lot of youth groups will buy some bulk tickets and bring their youth to experience the festival and also enjoy the concert. And then on Sunday night, we have Christian comedian Shonda Pierce from Nashville. And she's a very exciting lady. She calls herself the Queen of Clean. And she truly is a great entertainer. She's a wonderful musician as well. And she's very popular with the Women of Faith tour. She tours with them. She has just recently appeared in Columbia last year with Sandy Patty. And they called it the Girls Are Back in Town tour. And so she has really brought a new level of art to the Christian witness and ministry arena, because Christian comedy is an emerging form and people aren't quite sure of it many times, but she does a great job of packaging it for us.
Very definitely. And I was so excited to see the festival passes were so reasonable, and as you used the word group, buying in group passes at 10 or more, they would get substantial discounts. But of course, folks could find all that out online or by calling you. But I think I saw if folks purchased by next Tuesday, the 25th, they'd have the benefit of getting, I think, $17 for adults and around maybe $7 for children ages 3 to 12.
That is correct. And we are certainly encouraging churches. Churches can purchase the passes at even a lower group discount than the discounts you mentioned, and they can do that online, or they can call the festival office and we can get those shipped out to them.
Todd, we got 5 minutes. What is Jubilate? How did you all decide that would be the brand you all would wrap around?
Jubilate actually is found in the Latin translations of Psalm 100. And it is a joyous, triumphant celebration, most often related to song. And what we want to do, it actually came out of a board meeting, and this is where we have a wonderful arts ministry nonprofit board that has collaborated and helped to produce this. And what we found was, sitting around the board table one of our regular meetings, I said, I just can't name this thing. I said, I don't know what it's supposed to be named. I've looked, I've tried all of the secular marketing research branding things that I know. And one of the board members said, well, what about Jubilate? He said, I don't even know what the word means. I've just known that it's been used in song. And as we researched it, it was a true description of what this festival is, a joyful, triumphant celebration of the Christian arts.
If viewers are driving in, of course, the thrill is knowing that it starts as late as 9, and they could leave, on a Saturday if they were coming from Lumberton and Laurinburg, leave by 8 and get over there. And of course, on Sunday they could attend church and still make it over, kicking everything off at 2.
Correct.
Very important.
Correct. We're looking forward to we have wonderful parking accommodations in downtown Hartsville. We've worked hard to build the infrastructure in this last 18 months to accommodate all of those people that come in from out of town. Those people can certainly get their wristbands in advance and get their tickets mailed to them in advance so that they know that they have those. And a wristband, probably over the course of the 2 days, someone's going to get to sample 7 to 8 performances over the 2 days.
If you had just a couple of minutes, and I'm sure you've been out speaking to chamber groups or Rotaries or JCs or otherwise there in the Hartsville community, as well as throughout the PD, Todd, what are the most important aspects that you want to impress upon a viewer or anyone else that you're speaking to?
One of the things that has struck me as I've started speaking to people about this is the opportunity for people of all denominations to experience things they might not experience in their home church, and to experience in a very loving, predominantly Christian community, to come to Hartsville and have a day in the community. We're not actually accepting outside food vendors. All of the festival fare, the popcorn, the cotton candy, the funnel cakes, are all going to be local youth groups and nonprofit organizations that are going to be collaborating to do that kind of a thing. So this is going to be about as much of a homespun festival with experiencing national recognized talent as you can put together.
How vital, Todd. And you talked earlier, we talked a little bit about Hartsville as a cultural crown. You opened up with that and highlighting the Black Creek Arts Center, the Center Theater, obviously the Hartsville Museum, the Coker performing stages there. There's a lot to tap into for this event.
There is. In a regular city area, to rent facilities, to produce 9 different stages, to have sound systems, audiovisual needs met, this was really something that was serendipitous to grow out of the Hartsville community. And people, especially in the next 2 weeks that we have left from this time, it's really going to be a madhouse, but people are coming on board every day saying, I've seen the posters, I've seen the television commercial, I've seen the brochures, and I really want to be involved and I want my tickets.
And that's another important thing. If a viewer was interested in volunteering, are you all taking any volunteers?
We absolutely are. They can go onto the website. The volunteer application is there. They can print it out, they can fax it in, they can mail it in, and they can call the office.
You mentioned some of the names, Todd, in that chamber piece of so many of the volunteers, and you mentioned some of them, Judy Elvington, Trish DeHaan, I think Jim Dawson, of course, who'll be with us tomorrow, Frankie Bush. There's so many folks, whether within the committee or within the entire community there of 7,500 permanent residents there in Hartsville that are trying to make this a big event. What's the most important word to stress to them?
The most important thing to stress to them, and it came up the other evening, is while we are utilizing 3 main church facilities downtown, it is a collaboration of all of the churches and all of the faith community in the Hartsville and Darlington area to bring in these other people that are so vital and that we just want to share this opportunity with and not keep it to ourselves. And so it's really been a true collaboration in that respect.
That's wonderful. Todd, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Todd Gray coming up next. The dates June 5th and 6th. The events, the festival, Jubilate. The place is Hartsville, South Carolina. That's a Saturday and a Sunday, a 2-day multi-event Christian celebration. The arts are upon us. They happen not only in daily life, but you can be focused on 2 days here. Travel over there, whether you're in Myrtle Beach or Lumberton, South Carolina. Make the effort to get out there. 332-6550. That's 843-332-6550 or festivaljubilate.org. Check them out.